Hello children, today we'll be doing the next lesson. The name of the lesson is Quality, written by John Galsworthy. For your convenience, this lesson is divided into 3 modules. The first module is from the beginning of the lesson till the end of page number 73. The second module is from the beginning of page number 74 till the end of page number 75. And the third module is from the beginning of page number 76 till the end of this lesson. In this lesson, the narrator talks about a shoemaker whose name was Mr. Jessler. Now this Mr. Jessler, he lived with his brother, and the name of the shop was Jessler Brother. Now he was a German shoemaker, children. As you read the story, this man, Mr. Jessler, he talked with a German accent. Accent means the way you pronounce words. His English words had a German accent, and his way of speaking is written in this book exactly the way he spoke. So many places in this story you will read what he spoke in German accent, and the English translation is also given. So when I read those sentences, I will read in his language or in his accent, and then I will tell you the English translation. Okay, his certain words like R, B, D and all, he pronounced in a very typical manner, in a typical German accent. So it doesn't look like a normal English. Now this man lived with his brother, and he was a perfect artist, children, a perfect shoemaker. The shoes which he created, or the shoes which he made, it was perfect. There was no flaws, there was no mistake in what he made. He used the superior quality things, and everything, the stitching part, the sticking part, the leather part, everything was perfect. The author was very impressed with this man. And his shoes lasted also quite some time, because he made them such durable shoes he made. But this man died a very pathetic death, children. He never advertised his work, and soon he went out of business. Slowly, his customers decreased, and he did not spend enough money on eating. He did not take care of his health. He always wanted his shoes to be the best. So though he used the best quality things, but he did not get enough customers. The other shops, the other shoe factories or shoe shopkeepers, they advertised better and they got more customers. And this shoe factories and the new shoe makers, they did not use good quality things the way he did. But they somehow survived the business, and he soon ran out of business, and in the end he died. So you can learn many good things from the story, but the ending is a bit sad, children. The way he died really makes someone feel sad. Such a perfect artist, but then his work was not appreciated only because he did not advertise. People did not know about his shoes. Now look into your books, children. Page number 71. I knew him from the days of my extreme youth, because he made my father's boots. He lived with his elder brother in his shop, which was in a small by-street in a fashionable part of London. So the story is about a German shoemaker, and his name was Mr. Jessler. The author knew him from a very young time. When the author was a young boy, he knew the shoemaker, because Mr. Jessler only made his father's boots. So this boy was very familiar with him. Mr. Jessler, he lived with his elder brother in his shop. And his shop was located in a small by-street in a really busy, fashionable part of London. Now, The next paragraph. The shop had a certain quiet distinction. There was no sign upon it other than the name of Jessler Brothers, and in the window a few pair of boots. He made only what was ordered, and what he made never failed to fit. To make boots, such boots as he made, seemed to me then, and still seems to me, mysterious and wonderful. So the author says that though his shop was located in a small by street in the fashionable part of London, this Mr. Jessler's shop was a bit different. The word distinction means a bit different. His shop was somewhat, you can say, a very calm and quiet shop it was, children. It was different than the rest of the shops there. There was no sign on the shop except for the name Jessler Brothers written on it. And a few pairs of boots were kept near the window. And this man made only those boots or shoes which was ordered, and what he made always fitted the customers perfectly. He made perfect pair of shoes, you can say, children. The author was really mesmerized and enchanted with these boots. To this author, even during his young days and even now, he still felt that the shoes made by Mr. Jessler was a bit mysterious and beautiful, wonderful. Now, the next paragraph. I remember well my shy remarks one day while stretching out to him my youthful foot. Isn't it awfully hard to do, Mr. Jessler? And his answer, given with a sudden smile from out of the redness of his beard. It is an art. The words, children, it is an art. It's a German accent word. He spoke English with German accent, I said, isn't it? So the actual meaning of the sentence is, it is an art. He had a very typical way of speaking. So when the author went to make boots for the first time, he was a young boy that time, and he felt very shy when he stretched out his foot to this young shoemaker. When you go to the shops to buy shoes or boots, children, you have to measure the length of your foot, isn't it? You keep it on a stand and then you measure. The same way, this author had to stretch out his foot so that Mr. Jessler would take the proper measurement. And the author asked him, isn't your job very difficult? And what did Mr. Jessler say? He said that it was an art. It's not easy to make shoes, children. Every artist should know his work. And you should enjoy that work also. Then only it becomes a success. So for Mr. Jessler, making shoes or making boots, it was supposed to be an art. And Mr. Jessler was a perfect artist, children. Now, the next paragraph. It was not possible to go to him very often. His boots lasted terribly, having something beyond the temporary, some essence of boot stitched into them. So here the author is saying that it was not possible to go to his shop very often. When do you go to a shop very often, children? When you need that thing again and again. You go to stationery shops to buy pen, pencil, eraser because you need it again and again. But this shoemaker's shoes were so perfect and it lasted so long that it was not possible to go again and again to that shop. I told you the things which he used to make his shoes, the leather, the quality of the leather, the sole, everything. It was all of superior quality. So the author says that it was not possible to go to his shop again and again because his shoes lasted longer than expected because of its superior quality. Now, the next paragraph. One went in, not as into most shops, but restfully as one enters a church, and sitting on the single wooden chair, waited. A guttural sound and the tip-tap of his slippers beating the narrow wooden stairs, and he would stand before one without coat, a little bent, in leather apron, with sleeves turned back, blinking, as if awakened from some dream of boots. So, children, normally in any shop, the atmosphere is very different, isn't it? You can find the customers coming in and out. It's a bit noisy. But the atmosphere inside this Mr. Jessler's shop was very different. It was like going inside a church. The customer had to wait there by sitting on a single wooden chair. Only one wooden chair was there in that shop. The word guttural means a harsh sound generally made from the throat. A harsh and loud sound, you can say. You could hear a guttural sound or a harsh sound which generally comes from the upstairs, and the tip tap or the noise of his shoes or his slippers as he would walk down the stairs. The tip tap sound of his slippers could be heard when he came down the stairs. Mr. Jessler did not have a very professional look, children. He had a very simple look. He would stand a little bent toward the customer in his leather apron and the sleeves of his shirt turned back. He was not bothered about his dressing. He would stand there blinking as though he has just got up from some dream. Mr. Jessler only thought about boots, boots, and only boots. So he would blink as though he has just been awakened by some dream of boots. He had a very simple, unprofessional look. His shop was very quiet. The customers felt as if they have entered a church. Now, the next paragraph. And I would say, "How do you do, Mr. Jessler? Could you make me a pair of Russian leather boots?" Without a word, he would leave me retiring whence he came, or into the other portion of the shop, and I would continue to rest in the wooden chair, inhaling the incense of his trade. Soon he would come back, holding in his hand a piece of gold-brown leather. With eyes fixed on it, he would remark, "What a beautiful beast!" Again, this is English spoken with his particular accent. The sentence actually means, "What a beautiful piece." He's referring to that piece of leather. When I too had admired it, he would speak again. "When do you want them?" The sentence means, "When do you want them?" And I would answer, "Oh, as soon as you conveniently can." And he would say, "Tomorrow fortnight?" The word is actually fortnight. Or if he were his elder brother, "I will ask my brother." The word brother actually means brother. I told you, no, he had a typical way of speaking English. So when this man would come, Mr. Jessler would come, the author would order him a pair of Russian leather boots. He would ask, "Can you make a pair of Russian leather boots for me?" Mr. Jessler will not reply, children. He just won't say anything. He will just go back to the place from where he had come to get a piece of leather. The word retiring whence means to retire, to go back. Whence means from where he came. Or he will go to the other part of the shop, and the author will sit on that wooden chair and continue to be absorbed in that calm, quiet noise of his shop. Then he will go and bring that piece of leather, children. He would actually show a piece of leather to his customers. They had to select. They had to say whether this leather was enough to make the pair of shoes. Then the author will check the piece of leather. He himself will admire the leather, children. He will say, "What a beautiful piece," which means what a beautiful piece of leather. And then the narrator or the author will also admire that leather. And then again he will ask, "When do you want them?" Want them, it is actually his way of speaking, children. The sentence actually means, "When do you want them?" And the author would say, "At your convenience. When you feel convenient, please make and give it to me." And then he will say, "Tomorrow fortnight." That means the next fortnight. And if the elder brother would be there, then he will say, "I will ask my brother." He used to call the word as brother. It is actually brother. This man was very much involved in his skill, children, in his job, in his profession. Mr. Jessler, he was a really skilled man. For him, everything was important. The piece of leather, the time when he had to deliver the shoes. He was never in a hurry to make the shoes. Okay, the pair of boots needed a lot of time. So after talking to this author or to this narrator, he will take the order. Now let's see what happens in the next paragraph. Then I would murmur, "Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Jessler." "Good morning," he would reply, still looking at the leather in his hand. And as I moved to the door, I would hear the tip-tap of his slippers going up the stairs to his dream of boots. So after this author had ordered, he would very slowly say, "Thank you." He would thank that man. And again he will wish that man good morning. Mr. Jessler would reply good morning, but he was not a talkative man, children. Though he replied good morning back, but he was always standing there and admiring the piece of leather. And when this author left, he could hear the tip-tap sound of his slippers going up the stairs. That means Mr. Jessler went back to his place where he sat and made boots. The narrator calls it as dream of boots. The place where he only dreamt of boots there. So he was very professional shoemaker, very dedicated, very professional, very committed also. He never cared for his own health or his own look. When you go to some shops, children, you can see the shopkeepers are so well dressed, especially in malls and all, isn't it? They come forward, ask you what happened, what do you want. They show you so many shoes, so many slippers or boots around, isn't it? But this man was not like that. He was very calm, quiet. You had to put forward what do you want. Then he will go and bring one piece of leather. And he always brought the best leather. He never thought of cheating his customers. Okay, now in the next module, we'll see what happens next. Thank you, children.